Hey church, Pastor Shane here, another community group discussion starter video. This week we had a special guest, Catalin and Paula Kreuter, and Catalin brought a message from Luke chapter 13. It was great to have them hear about what God was doing in their ministry, and also thankful for his message that he brought from Luke chapter 13, 6 through 9. It's the parable of the barren fig tree, and I'm just going to read it and kind of remind you what he said about it. It says in verse 6, "And he, being Jesus, told this parable. A man had a fig tree planted in his vineyard, and he came seeking fruit on it and found none. And he said to the vine dresser, 'Look, for 3 years now I have come seeking fruit on this fig tree, and I could find none. Cut it down. Why should it use up the ground?' And he answered him, 'Sir, let it alone this year also, until I dig around it and put some manure on it,'" basically take care of it. "Then if it should bear fruit next year, well and good, but if not, you can cut it down." And so Catalin mentioned 3 things. One, that when he talks about this vineyard, and this fig tree that is in it, he is talking about Israel, and there's a number of other passages that mention that. But also kind of applied it to our lives as well. First of all, saying that, if we are this kind of fig tree that's planted here, that one that we have been planted intentionally by God in a certain time, in a certain place, to grow, mature, and to serve him in that time and place. And we can spend a lot of time, Catalin was talking about worrying, well, I wish I was here or there, I wish this was happening or that was happening in my life. But that God has us in a particular place at a particular time to be used by him. And you might say, used by him for what? Well, as the parable said and as Catalin talked about, to bear fruit. We are meant to bear fruit. And he described it as bearing fruit in holiness and in repentance. That we're to bear fruit in holiness and repentance. And that we're called by God to be sanctified is the theological word for it. To continue to grow in our faith in the place that he has placed us. And it should be our desire to continue to grow in that way and live the new life in the Spirit, or as we've been talking about in Colossians, the new self, that we're to clothe ourselves these new attributes that are of Christ. And then last, he said, we're also called to something else. That part of the fruit that we're to bear is to spread the gospel around the world and also in our backyard. And I appreciated that because Catalin is over there. We're helping to support his ministry in Romania with all the churches that he serves with there. But the expectation in Romania is that we back here in the United States are doing our job with the people that are around us in our communities, neighborhoods, families, all that. And so he gave us a challenge to take part in that work of spreading the gospel, to look for opportunities to share with people, to not forget that this is what God has called us to. This is how he's called us to bear fruit, to produce, and that he is the one who is working in us to produce this. So you're going to talk about this. Talk about where God has planted you and what that means. Talk about what it means to kind of bear this fruit in your life and be part of that. And where is God working in your life based on where he has planted you? That's what you're going to be talking about. Have a great discussion.